I think you're going to ask yourself, who's this other bloke on the other side of the screen? Well, that's a really good mate of mine. That's Peter Mizzen. And I've asked him to interview me. And down the track, I'm going to interview him. Keep watching.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for episode 4 of 14 Days, 14 Years On with Brant Webb. Brant, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks, Peter.
Now, at this point, mate, you've been trapped underground for almost 5 days. You had to keep your mind busy after you worked out that you couldn't tunnel out because the mesh was blocking you. But you and Todd are quite different people. Can you explain some of the differences you found out you had down there?
Yeah, we were completely different people indeed. Todd was a hunter. I was a fisherman. So he knew nothing of fish and I knew nothing of hunting. So we couldn't talk much about that. And then we thought, oh, it's all right. We'll talk about the cars. And no, he was Ford and I was Holden. So, and then we said, oh, well, we'll talk about music. And he was a country and western, and I was rock and roll. So it was amazing because the only thing we had in common was Kenny Rogers. I mean, it sounds far-fetched, and Kenny's passed now, but the only 2 songs we actually knew together were "Cow of the County" and "The Gambler." So I mean, everyone knows "The Gambler." I mean, if you've ever been into a bar with a jukebox, you know "The Gambler" because it's always on. Yeah. And so we end up doing that one, and it was quite good. Like because Toddy knew the words, being the country western guy, and so I was sort of popping along with it, and then. You wouldn't believe it. The first time I got told to shut up. The rescuer said, "Shut up! We can't hear you. We can hear you. Shut up so you can hear us." And mate, I was pretty ecstatic that I was getting told to shut up. But it was a different way to come around it. But it was what it was. But it was pretty awesome. It was the jubilation. Being found was it was off the planet for us anyway.
Yeah, I mean, little did you know, I imagine when you started singing down there that you'd have an audience and that the boys had finally made it through to find you. But you and Todd obviously would have been ecstatic to actually hear human voices for the first time, or apart from yourselves, and the first time in 5 days. They were also pretty happy at your place, mate, when they found out you're alive as well.
Yeah, it went off. Toddy's place went off, my place went off, and mate, they moved in. I had a beautiful bar before they all got there. It was all stocked up, and when I got home, it was empty, dry. There was nothing there.
They drank bar dry. Yeah. Well, I hope they restocked it for you, mate. So
definitely wasn't complaining.
Yeah. Now, Brett Creswell and Pat Ball, after they could hear you, actually managed to get a bit of conduit through, so you could get some supplies through, mate. After 5 days of mine water, and I think you had half a muesli bar each down there. What did fresh water taste when you had it?
Yeah, they pushed through a bottle of water, a 600 ml bottle, and they put through a packet of teddy bear biscuits with jam centres that one of the blokes had in their crib bag, Yeah. And I'll tell you something, don't eat sugar if you haven't eaten for 5 days. Don't eat it. We cramped all over our bodies. Mate, I didn't know you could cramp behind your ears and in your eyelids, but I got cramps in every toe, I got cramps in between your ribs, I had cramps everywhere. I reckon we lost more than the 300 ml water we had each, because just in tears from all the cramps.
But that fresh water must have been a lot better than the mine water you've been drinking.
I'm drinking mine water again later on anyway, because the nutritionist decided that we only needed 100 ml of water, so they were sending down 100 ml in the 600 ml water bottles, and we kept thinking up the top was drinking it all on us, and we were getting all the backwash, So we thought, well, it's probably tastier drinking the mine water than the backwash. So,
sorry, you're only allowed 100 mils of water.
Yeah, well, what happened was the nutritionist thought they'd take over, but the psychologist moved in and said, you can't do that. You've got to give them full bottles, But it was a tough gig, because you had everyone up there trying to do the right thing, but what was the right thing is right for one person, but not for another. So it's like for us, we just didn't want to be lied to, so we got lied to a couple of times, so we didn't talk to those people anymore. We just said we don't want to talk to them because they lied to us. You know, we can't. And at that point, we just wanted to trust everyone that what they were doing was to get us out safe, not to find us and then kill us trying to get us out. So that was the hardest thing for the rescuers was, you know, like to keep us alive through the whole project. That's why it took so long.
Yeah. And the first point of call was to try to get you out from above and to drill a bigger hole to get through some, to get some bigger supplies to you. Now, they had to go through 15.5 metres of rock. There wasn't a lot of room for error, but Daniel Manning, the drill, managed to get you through.
That piece of pipe with the crack in it,
yes,
that was how they got all the food through, that 90mm piece of stormwater pipe. And so nothing come down bigger than a 600ml water bottle. So, and that crack in that pipe was that was the disastrous bit, because everything had to be put inside a water bottle to get anything to us because of that crack. Nothing could come down because it get snagged on that crack.
Okay.
So we didn't actually know where that crack was until the breakthrough. And they said, well, we found where the crack in the pipe is, the break in the pipe. And it was only, it was only a foot away from us. And but it was amazing how we wouldn't send anything out of that hole, because if we got stuck on the way out, how stupid would you feel? You know, like, I know we're putting rubbish out and it's got stuck in the thing, we can't get it out. You know, so like, we didn't want to start with.
You're able to get food and water, obviously, but you're able to get some items from your family sent down as well. What types of things?
Yeah, we did quite well with the family stuff, because they were at that point they were rewriting all our letters, and they rewrote my wife's letter in dot point, but she writes letters. And the big clincher was they spelled her name wrong, and I sort of thought to myself, I'm pretty sure my wife knows how to spell her name. You know, it's been writing it for 30 odd years at that stage. Yeah. So, you know, they sort of you know, you're sending us crap again. Thanks very much, but, you know, we can't even trust you to send down letters that they're writing. So what happened was my family actually sent me down some tracksuit pants and jumper. It was quite cool down there, you know, like with the wind, because I put a lot of air into the stope at that time. And inside the tracksuit pants, when I went and put my foot in, I felt little pieces of paper and sticky notes, and they'd stuck sticky notes. And everybody wrote on a little sticky note. So I had a sticky note from my mum and a sticky note from my dad, and I had a sticky note, you know, from my kids, one of, you know, each kid, and my wife and my auntie, and, you know, both aunties. And it was unbelievable because, like, I didn't get any correspondence from them. They withheld everything because they said, we don't think they're in the right frame of mind to hear from family. You know, we changed all that, Todd and I. We went around Australia to all the rescue organisations and said, you can't do this. This is what you must do. To keep people sane, let them speak to their families. Give them a full bottle of water. Give them a cigarette. It's not going to kill them, you know. Like, that 1 or 2 cigarettes ain't going to kill them, you know. Like, so, and if they want to write a note, let them write a note to their family, you know. So, and don't rewrite the information. Just let them read what they've got to hear, you know, what the family's got to say, really. Yeah. So that was a big one on our behalf, yeah.
And I mean, you're off the smokes these days, mate, so you wouldn't have one of those now. But what was it like to be able to read a note that you knew was written from your family members after all that time?
Yeah, I think I had a bit of a cry, you know. It was like the emotional roller coaster we went through was pretty immense, you know, like when we got trapped, you know, and then we got found, and then we were told, oh, we don't know how to get you out, so you're gonna have to wait in there. And then the fact that we didn't know if the roof was going to hold up with all those little pebbles, all those little rocks, we didn't know if that was going to hold up. So the roller coaster we rode was pretty immense, the ups and downs. I'd never watched the movie for many years. I think it was until Avatar, like 6 years later, that I watched Avatar and cried through it, and I thought, I'm still not ready for movies. You know, because movies have got too many ups and downs like that roller coaster we went through. And the biggest problem, I think, with anything, when you've been through near-death experience, is your emotions. So that's where we were. Well, Todd and I were both at that point, you know, where emotions were all over the shop.
How would you be watching a movie these days, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good at watching movies at the moment. Yes, no, I've watched a few.
Yeah. We'll talk about that more and how you're able to do that.
Well, you 14, we'll talk about that one.
That's right. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the next episode. So by this stage, mate, it was worldwide news, and even Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters offered to buy. He's heard about your experience and offered to buy you and Todd a beer when you made it out.
Yes, he did, and I can tell you that story later on because we're still in the mine at this point. So I'm going to tell that story when we get out of the mine. Yeah. So we actually, we went to the Opera House and we met Dave, and it was one of those things you'll never forget. It was a bit similar to getting you know, when you meet your rock star. I got out and there was my wife and family, you know.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a great story for our 14-year series. So we'll look forward to you giving us more detail about that. That's all we have time for today. Viewers, thanks again for watching. We've got one more episode of Building the Tunnel Out before our final episode of The Ride to Freedom. So thanks very much again for joining us, Brant. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks, guys.